Hello, my name is Star. I put this turkey in the background in celebration of Thanksgiving or whatever. I don't really celebrate it, but I do eat and stuff with my family, as most people do. But yeah, I thought it was cool. So the movies are of course Chak de India and Offside. Um, I guess let's start off with Chak de India. Um, so a little bit of research that I did. Upon doing my research, I realized, well, I kind of knew that based on the film after watching it and during watching it that it was gonna have a lot of history. And you can see that if even if you like me, I'm not even good with American politics up until recently, and especially when it comes to other countries, I basically almost never have a clue as to what's going on in other countries like politics unless I hear about it on the news or something and I read further into it. But even then, there's always so much history, and if you don't, I feel like if you don't live there or you don't know someone who's experiencing it, it's kind of hard to really dive into that. But anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so as doing my research, definitely a lot of there was a lot of stuff, a lot of historical things that I was seeing, and I was like, wow, this is I could write a whole essay just on this movie. There actually was a scholar article about this movie and it's relation to Muslim Hindu unity. Was it that? Yeah, it was I saw that a lot in the research I was doing. Muslim Hindu unity and solidarity, and I was like, oh, searching a bunch of stuff. But I realized, if I don't want to spend a literal 20 minutes talking about all of that, but the movie is really interesting, and it definitely, I think if you dive deeper into it, it can say a lot. And I think that overall, both of these films, I kind of for some reason was reminded of um the first video in this class that we watched that was a TED Talk. Um these films reminded me of that TED Talk video of the woman speaking. And basically I wrote down on my paper, how does it all relate to the power of film? Because I think these two movies, especially in this module, I think that given the history of both and the implications, the political messages that it has, both of the films, I think that thing or relating back to the TED Talk, I think that this is a true showcase of film having an immense power in telling a story, and especially to those like me who don't have any prior knowledge or would never have seen these two movies um without this class. So I think that that is really something powerful, to have experienced these movies and all that stuff. But anyways, getting into the movies, um there was, hold on, yeah, so I think a lot of the comments in Chak de India, when a lot of the girls made comments to each other, and they were very snarky and sassy about where they came from or their religion or just what they look like. And I think that that in itself definitely gave me an idea of oh, this movie has a lot of political implications, and the history behind this is definitely something probably that wasn't just made up by that director for dramatic effect. I think that, or the writer as well, it was definitely put in there because it's something that happens between people, the tension or the like the distrust or the bias, you know, and the judgment. um but yeah, I think that especially like I was looking at this art or two articles, and they were both kind of short, but it was some actor. I think he was Hindu, I believe. Yeah, he is like older now, but he used to be like I think they call him like a veteran actor. Like he was basically well known, and I guess it was like there was like kind of, you know, drama that was happening um in that like cinema world, because he pointed out that like the story that the coaches or the sorry the the story that the movie is based on, the real life coach, Neji Negi Neji, he was Hindu, and in the movie, the guy who plays the coach, I think his name's Kabir in the movie. I think, oh, I didn't write it down. Okay, well, I think it was Kabir. Um, he was Muslim in the movie, and so, you know, he kind of, the dude who the old actor dude had like a, you know, he felt a certain way about it, and it sparked conversation. And I think that that was like my main takeaway from that, is that, you know, one, the that's also where I saw the Muslim Hindu unity like phrase that I kept seeing, and also the fact that, you know, him having an opinion on it, like it went to Twitter, people were sharing their own opinion about it, and yeah, basically it just sparked conversation, and once again reminded me of the TED Talk, that like expresses how powerful film can be, especially to people who are not in that world, you know, who don't experience a certain lifestyle or a certain, you know, political climate, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I think overall the movie, like, um, the movie itself was like good in terms of like cinema style and like plot or whatever. It was, you know, like it was just kind of a movie, right? You know, like it was kind of predictable, but I think beyond that, like the in a greater scope, the historical context between like the different religions and cultures in India. And India is like so huge. Oh my god, there's so many people there and so many religions. Um, but yeah, like all that historical context definitely comes into play, and it's, even though like, well, I guess sports can also kind of be very political, as we see in these two movies. But yeah, you know, it definitely touches on like women's voices and like you know, equality, gender equality and stuff like that. I think, yeah, I like the way that they like um I think I did this. Sorry, I'm like, I don't even know. Okay, anyways. um but yeah, I think the way that they like made the movie a kind of fun, like, I don't know, like it was a fun piece, you know, to watch. And I think it's like, for me at least, it was a good introductory almost like point to exposing myself to like, um I guess what some of the history in India is, and, you know, wanting to look more into it so that I can like appreciate the movie, I guess, more. But yeah, I think that that film was really good, and, you know, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, we all know like how the movie went, so I don't want to talk about like, you know, oh, this happened, this hasn't. But yeah, I feel like the most important thing for me and Chak to India was like the context that can be taken out of the movie and like widen to, you know, to really see like background and like context, and, you know, how it can like be applied in like certain things. And I say that because like it reminds me in Offside, um, there was an interview that I was it an interview? No, it was a review. It was a review um, for the movie Offside, and the person that was writing, I think it was a woman. They were saying how like Offside did a good job, and I agree with this that they did a good job of like definitely like portraying a lot of like the what's the word, like they portrayed the like negativities of the Iranian government, like in terms of women not being, treated the same as men. But more so like the movie, I think the movie's purpose was to showcase that, but not pinpoint anyone like as a villain in the movie. I think it was just to like I don't know. I'm rambling. Oh my gosh! But basically, I think you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I actually have the article because I knew I was like gonna forget everything. But this is like directly from the article, so that I'm not just like spewing nonsense. Panahi's, and that's the writer. I think it was I wrote it on different pages because I'm dumb. Was it? Okay, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm not doing a good job at this. Panahi's clever ploy here is to not condemn the government with an outsider's perspective. They use a word here I'm not sure of, but to undermine its policies from within. And another article also pointed out that it tries to unify, like the captors and the girls who are trying to get into the game, not to make the men in the movie like bad guys, because they're a product of their environment in a sense, and they're not going to be born in this way of living and this lifestyle to come out completely opposite. They're going to be a product of their environment, as with anywhere or anyone. But still, the point is, I think the movie in no like shape or form was trying to make the captors, that word is so funny, the soldiers who were keeping them like in that little corral, like bad people. They were they were having like good conversations about the government, like the girl who was kneeling down talking to that one soldier. They were she was asking him like really good questions about like why he thinks that like this is okay, or like kind of trying to get a sense of like like why is it this way, or like I get a sense of like how he thinks about the government, him being like a man, and especially in his position, like being a soldier. And you could see that he was like very, very thoughtful about what he was saying, and it wasn't just like, oh, this is the way it is. It was in a way, but at the same time, you could see him thinking, and like his gears grinding, and him trying to relate to her almost. And I think that like the two articles that I read both kind of said similar things, that the movie did a good job of like portraying the fallacies within the Iranian government, and not so much as like the men of not only the movie, but the entire like the country, and but yeah, I think that was like super interesting, because watching the movie, I was like not as, I guess, like intrigued by it until after, realizing like all the little details and like the what it like really, I don't know, like I guess what I learned from it was more interesting than the movie itself. And the fact that the writer director, oh, that was the name, Jafar Panahi, yeah. Um, the writer and director, he actually got banned for 20 years from filmmaking, and he was arrested in 2011. And he basically just had troubles with the Iranian government for a long time, and it was because of his films and the messages he was sending. And yeah, they didn't like his films. And I think that overall, like, these two movies were very political forward, but I think in like the best way possible, because they weren't really intense to watch. They were really like powerful and moving. um and it like makes you, especially upon doing research, I think that it made me think a lot about like the history, and not pinpointing judgment on certain people, but like the systems that people have to deal with and live with. And those are like the root of the problems, not the people who just follow it. Like, that's not wasn't their calling to do that. It's just like something that they that they're surrounded by. But yeah, I think that they both had really strong, like, strong messages, basically. And I think yeah, they were both really good films. I think that's all I have to say. But yeah, if in the responses, if anyone has like extra history, or like things that I got wrong, or like just anything like that that's like useful to like the movies, or like the history, please share, because I would love to hear that.